The President of the United States has come out now among his supporters and said that his next term, he's going to reshape health care. He's going to take a second stab at health care and get it right this time. My guess is when he says he's going to get it right, what he means by get it right is it's going to be a single-payer health care system. That's what the president has said the entire time he wanted, but he's never admitted, and this is the key part I want you to remember, he's never admitted publicly that's what he wanted outside of his inner circles. We have him on tape. We have his inner circles saying on tape, but we don't have him in any major speech in front of everybody, in front of all the cameras. We don't have him anywhere saying that publicly, and that is key. I want you to just to remember that. Tuck it in your back pocket. And now let's talk about this. I honestly don't understand what the left wants from this president. Let me play devil's advocate, and may mean that literally, and argue for the president here for a second. If you are a Marxist, if you are a revolutionary, if you're a communist, really if you're an anarchist, if you're an extreme leftist, if you're somebody who doesn't like the system as it is on the left, what more could this president do for you? I want you to think about his accomplishments. I want you to look at what this man has accomplished and ask yourself, what the hell are you complaining about? I have an answer to this at the end, but I want to give you some perspective first. I want to hear your answer. What more does a progressive leftist want from the President of the United States? Look at the list. Look at the list of his accomplishments. Look at the things that this man has done. Teddy Roosevelt was the first to say, we need a universal health care system. Teddy Roosevelt and every liberal president since Teddy Roosevelt has said we need universal health care. No one has gotten it done until Barack Obama. This is the biggest liberal progressive achievement since Johnson, but the biggest achievement for liberals I believe the country has ever had. If you are a progressive, this has been the cornerstone of fundamental transformation of the United States of America. And only President Obama got it done. When is the last time any conservative got anything this size done? What is the equivalent on the conservative side? I contend it's what? A 10% flat tax? I mean, it would take something that large. The abolishment of the IRS and a 10% flat tax. But that's not all he's done. He didn't just pass the most massive, transformative bill of all time in American history. He's covered almost everything. Don't ask, don't tell is gone. Gay marriage is supported. And he's not enforcing the Defense of Marriage Act. That goes against his oath of office. He's used the justice system as a political tool. Look at what's happening in Florida with a man who now is beginning to appear innocent in the Trayvon Martin case. But it's so much deeper than that. It's so much deeper than in bed with the Black Panthers, in bed with the radicals that begin at Al Sharpton. Do you remember when we used to think Al Sharpton was the radical? Al Sharpton is the sanest among the radicals now. And this Justice Department shows up with Eric Holder at the time of moments in time like Trayvon Martin and helps him raise money. But it goes beyond that. This week, Eric Holder and the IRS showed up together at a black church conference calling all of the black churches together to explain exactly how to campaign, what would get you in trouble and what wouldn't. It was clear intimidation. By the way, they didn't schedule this conference for any other community. Why? What is it that progressives want from this president? He's ended the war on terror. He didn't stop the killing. He's just ended the war on terror, saying terror is a tactic. Terror is not something you go to war against. Jihad is a legitimate religious edict. Terror is a tactic, and we can't say anything about jihad. This president has legitimized jihad. This president has brought the Muslim Brotherhood into the Oval Office, brought the Muslim Brotherhood from Egypt. He brought the Muslim Brotherhood into our Department of Homeland Security, into our Pentagon. He has erased any kind of training against Islamic extremism. He denies that there is such a thing as Islamic extremism. This president has brought the labor unions in as his full partner. The top two guests of the White House are the leaders of labor unions. They set the agenda. He is suing Arizona, one of the 50 states, over immigration laws. The EPA is completely out of control. The EPA has a SWAT team. He has an oil moratorium. Under this president, we have shut down the largest oil refinery in the East Coast. The left, the progressive left, the earth lovers, they all say we need gas prices as high as Europe. Under this president, remember, if that is your point, that you want people to use less gas, and you think we should have gas prices as high as Europe, under this president, because of his policies, gas has doubled in price. He's virtually shut down the coal industry. Maybe you want more liberal judges than Sotomayor and Kagan. Maybe you don't think that he has done his job on class warfare. Maybe you don't think that he's demonized Wall Street enough. Maybe you don't think that he has demonized hardworking Americans who came from nothing and now are millionaires because they invented something, because they created a business. Maybe it's because he's only co-opted the banks and the auto industry and hasn't fully nationalized them. But he has taken over the banks. Evidence shows that the banks are now doing the bidding of the United States government. He's extended the car company takeovers. Why? You might as well nationalize them. He's overseen the largest financial reform ever in the United States. He's created the Credit Protection Agency, which is the first agency outside of the Constitution. It doesn't answer to the President. It doesn't answer to the Treasury. It doesn't answer to Congress. It only answers to the Fed. No president has ever done that before. He has taken the U.S. military and reduced the size of our fighting force while creating a private State Department army without any questions whatsoever. He has changed foreign constitutions. Hear this and look at Kenya as evidence. By withholding State Department money, he has changed foreign constitutions to begin to support abortion. He has almost entirely co-opted the media, while at the same time demonized from the Oval Office anybody who has a different opinion. He has darn near made it criminal to have a differing point of view. He has appointed literal socialists, literal communists, literal revolutionaries in high office. He has given the presidential Medal of Freedom to socialists and communists. He has put Muslim Brotherhood members in high office. He has open hostility to the nation of Israel and almost all of our foreign allies. He has overseen the darn near destruction of NATO. He has given NATO a leading role over the United States. Think about Libya. Did we lead that? We didn't lead that. The European partners led that. He has gotten rid of the missile shield at the expense of Poland. He has given our nuclear serial numbers and the number of missiles from our allies and from us to Russia. He just had the DOJ stop a bid to halt illegal voting. They're trying to purge all illegal aliens from the voter rolls in Florida. He just directed Eric Holder to stop that process. He has brought into the federal budget ACORN. He's gone on the American apology tour, that America is only exceptional to Americans, just like Greece is exceptional to Greeks. He's apologized for almost everything this country has ever done, no matter its intent. He has cozied up with the Russians. We have massive regulation that will never truly be undone because of Cass Sunstein. He has supported anarchists, communists, and revolutionaries by supporting Occupy Wall Street. The EPA now has the ability to regulate carbon emissions for the very first time. Michelle Obama is trying to control what you eat. He has overseen a massive expansion of government aid programs. Food stamps from 26 million to 48 million people in 3.5 years. He put together a stimulus plan that included money for essentially every item on the progressive wish list for the past 100 years. Just one tiny example, he threw billions and billions of dollars at green energy companies with absolutely no prospect for success. Think of that. What more do you want from this president? If you're a progressive, a Marxist, an anarchist, what more do you want from this president? I'll tell you. We're going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back, and I want to give you what I believe is the answer to that question. I'd like to hear from you on what did we miss, because we sat around this morning and we went through this list, and I bet you we missed over half of what this president has done. It's overwhelming what this president has done. He has overseen the fundamental transformation of the United States of America. He's literally rewriting history in real time. What's the equivalent if we had a president on the right? If he could accomplish the same amount in the other direction, what would America look like? We'd begin with a 10% flat tax. We'd begin with that. More importantly, when we come back, I want to tell you what I think the real reason is why the progressives, why the president's coalition is falling apart. And I'll bet you it's the same reason you don't like him. It's the same reason you don't think he's a good president. It's more than just his policies. I'll give that to you here in a second. First, our sponsor this half hour is Tax Resolution Services. Tax Resolution Services helps good people get out of bad IRS situations every single day. Did you guys see that or listen to the audio of Eric Holder speaking to the black churches this week? Did you guys even know that story?
No, I didn't know it at all.
Isn't that amazing? There's something this big. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Eric Holder goes to the black churches with the head of the IRS and says, look, here's the deal. We're entering a political season, and here's exactly what's going to happen. And here are the rules, et cetera, on how you can campaign and how you can't campaign, what you can say from the pulpit, what you can't. It was clear intimidation, and I've never seen anything like that before. Have you?
No.
Never.
I don't think so, no.
The IRS is being used as a weapon. Understand that you can't fight the IRS alone. And if you owe the IRS over $20,000 back. So let me explain what I think the problem is that progressives have with the President of the United States, why they don't like him. Because you go through this list, and we want to open up the phones when we come back at the bottom of the hour at 888-727-BECK. I want you to tell me what we missed on that list. What are the things that he's done? Because I'll bet you that's half the list of what he's accomplished.
Yes, he's much more than that.
Yeah. So what is it that he has? What is it that progressives, revolutionaries, Marxists, communists, labor union bosses, what is it they don't like about the President of the United States? I contend it's the same thing that Van Jones doesn't like. That he had to get into office. They controlled both the Senate and the House. And Newsweek magazine came out and said, we're all socialists now. And America rejects it. And so they still have to hide. They're tired of hiding. They're like, this is the chance. If we had both the House and the Senate and the President of the United States, and you still were too much of a coward to actually come out and say who you are, it's the same thing that we don't like. I know, the guy is a Marxist, period. He's not a communist, he's a Marxist. He wants to fundamentally transform the United States of America. He is more Hugo Chavez than George Washington. We all know that. And we know he knows that. And we know he's telling us lies. But I contend so does the left. The left looks at him and they're seeing him cozying up with Wall Street, and they're saying, wait a minute, why are you cozying up with Wall Street? You know you don't believe that. What happened to you? It's what Jeremiah Wright says about him. Mm-hmm. They know he's lying, and they're angry that he won't come out and just admit it because there's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all socialists now. We're all Marxists now. Why can't you be the president of France? He won on the Marxist platform. He came out and admitted it. Why won't you admit you've been hanging out with the Democratic Socialists of America? We got all the evidence. We've seen you at their conferences. Why won't you admit it? They don't like it. If he would have accomplished all these things out in daylight, they wouldn't have a problem with it. They think he's a liar, just like we think he's a liar. He's in trouble. He's in trouble because our side, we don't like him. We think he's a liar. We vote him out of office. Communists, revolutionaries, and anarchists, they think you're a liar. You betray the revolution. It usually doesn't end well. The president is in trouble. All right, we're talking about the President of the United States, and I started the hour with this premise. He's now at $38,000 plate fundraisers, and he's saying that he is going to, in his second term, redo health care. He's going to fix health care. Well, health care hasn't even started yet. We don't have anything on health care. It hasn't started yet. But he's going to fix it. I believe that what he's trying to telegraph to his supporters is universal health care, single-payer health care. And this is the reason why the left is so angry with him. They really thought when, they read his code language, as did we, when he was running the first time. They recognized what hope and change was. They recognized the language of redistribution of wealth. They recognized the fact that he was huge with labor unions. They recognized the fact that he was huge with Planned Parenthood. They knew what community organizer really meant. We didn't. They knew what Acorn really was. We didn't. They recognized his language on the culture. They recognized and took it at its word when he said we were going to fundamentally transform the United States of America. And they knew he was good enough to dupe the American people to get into office. And they also hoped and prayed that not only would he get into office, but it would be a landslide sweep, and you would be able to have the House and the Senate and the presidency of the United States. That's why when they first jumped in, all of the real progressives, like the people at Newsweek, were honest, and they said, we're all socialists now. And it stunned them that he didn't say that. It stunned them that he still held back, that he still didn't just get it all done, that he just didn't say, yeah, damn right, that's what we are, and that's what we're going to do, because they are progressive, socialist, communists, revolutionaries. When he pals around with those people, when he puts them into office, but then he distances himself from Van Jones. When he cozies up with people like Occupy Wall Street, but he never really helps them. But he supports them. They're tired of it. They don't trust him. Why are you at Wall Street all the time? Why are you doing $38,000 a plate dinners? Who's the dog and who's the tail? Are you wagging Wall Street, or is Wall Street wagging you? Which one is in real power here? How come you haven't put more people in jail on Wall Street? Where are the investigations of these evil corporations? Why haven't you just taken over GM? Why didn't you just nationalize the banks? We all know they're bad. They don't trust him. The same problem that the left has with the President of the United States is the problem we have. It's the same problem. Nobody trusts him because you don't really know who he is.
Isn't he right, though? I mean, isn't Obama right on this? If Barack Obama came out and was honest, he would have a 15% approval rating instead of 45.
You can't do that in America.
But remember, what is the point of the coming insurrection? Do you remember that book?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the point of that? Besides, hey, break up the families, destroy society as we know it, and eat the rich. Why? Why are they feeling that way?
Because they've tried it for so long. Now it's time to just get it done.
Right. They tried it the other way. They tried going with the democratic socialists, not the communists, not the anarchists, not the extremes. They tried to go in with the democratic socialists, which is in Europe not extreme, and they promised them this communist utopia, and they've had several times that they've been close enough where they could have done it, and nobody would pull the trigger. And that's what they see here in America with Barack Obama. He won't pull the trigger. Be Hugo Chavez. Why won't you do it? Look at Bloomberg. Look at what Bloomberg said, and we're going to get into the soda thing later. But look at what he did yesterday. Do you have just the audio, Pat, of him saying the most amazing phrase I've ever heard from any politician? We're going to force you. Listen to this.
We've got to do something about it. Everybody's wringing their hands saying, got to do something. Well, here is a concrete thing. You can still buy large bottles in stores, but in a restaurant, 16 ounces is the maximum that they would be able to serve in one cup. If you want to order 2 cups at the same time, that's fine. It's your choice. We're not taking away anybody's right to do things. We're simply forcing you to understand that you have to make the conscious decision to go from one.
Got it. We're just going
to understand that you have to.
Right, and that's exactly what the left wants. Why don't you shut the Tea Party down? Why don't you shut talk radio down? Why don't you just force people to understand this is the new reality? The time is running out, Mr. President. That's what they think. We've already lost the House. We're about to lose the Senate. You've blown our opportunity to pull the trigger. That's their problem. That's their problem. That's why the left why his coalition is falling apart, because they don't believe he's done enough. They don't believe he's pulled the trigger. When you're a reasonable person and you believe that this system should stand, that we have compromise, that this is the way we get things done, you look at his accomplishments and say no president has ever done this. No president has transformed the United States of America as thoroughly and as wholly somebody who has done as much damage to the Constitution of the United States of America and its fundamental system, Congress is almost irrelevant. No president has done that. If you're a reasonable person, you look at that and say, you should be for him. If you're a leftist, you should be for him. But they don't want this system. They were promised fundamental transformation, and so far we're still in a cocoon. Americans are feeling all that silk all around them going, wait, man, I got to get out of this cocoon. They want to get out in the other way. They want to transform. They want to turn a caterpillar into the butterfly. They want it right now. We're trying to say, wait a minute, I don't even want to be in this cocoon. What are you doing? How come you tied me up like this? They want it now. And they think, they know how close they are. I mean, I've heard two things on the president's reelection. One, it's going to be a landslide for him. And two, it's going to be a landslide for Romney. I don't hear anybody that I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't. Do you?
I think it's certainly possible. I mean, I don't know. The problem here is that he's got a bad performance, and I think people recognize that. Millions and millions of independents and Democrats and Republicans have switched from him to supporting Romney. We know that as a fact, backed up in every single poll. But the question, though, is, does Romney excite people? Is Romney going to be able to get the base out? I think it's going to be a very much a anti-Obama base that comes out, and you have to get to that point of at some point he's going to have to be able to make the case to his own side, Romney, and also independents to get them excited to actually come out and change things. So that is yet to be seen. I think he can do it, but he hasn't done it yet. And I think that's going to be a major. If he doesn't do that, this guy. Look at all the stuff you just said. Remember, the other side of that is all of it is failed. All the promises that went along with the stimulus, that went along with financial reform, that went along with the takeover of these companies, have failed. So when you factor in performance, this guy should be at 4% approval rating.
Yeah.
Instead, he's in 40s.
What's amazing is he's running on. Right, I know everything's failed. I know it's still really, really bad. But give me one more chance to make it right. Well, that's what you said. You said last time you were going to fix it. Now it's not fixed.
You're talking about the average person, though. I think you're talking about the average Democrat that still thinks the Democrats exist, and the average Republican. You're talking about people who are thinking rationally and reasonably. I'm talking about his real coalition of support, his real uber leftists. The people in the colleges, the people at the hierarchy of the labor unions, the communists like Van Jones, all the people that are turning against him.
But when you talk about winning an election, you can't win an election with Van Jones. I mean, Van Jones gets the vote out, he gets people excited, but right. You can't. You need to get more than that.
They had the potential last time. The left looks at this as, you had the opportunity. Now you've squandered that opportunity. They don't even know if they're going to win the Senate again. And so they're like, now you've squandered the opportunity. They had nothing but upside. Now they have doubt. Will this guy ever really pull the trigger? And so they're disgusted with him. They're pissed at him. Now, they may still go and vote for him, but it's not the same.
They're not excited about it this time.
Right.
So some of them may stay. They're certainly not voting Romney. So they may stay home. Let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. The communists and anarchists stay home. I'd like to see that happen.
I love any anarchist that is out voting.
Yeah.
Burn it down to the ground. Hang on just a second. I got to see my look. I voted today sticker. All right, here's our sponsor this half hour. It is goldline.com.